Hello again, traders, and welcome back to the Hot Stocks Outlook for June 21st, 2024. Hope y'all are having an excellent week out there in the financial markets. As always, we're going to take a look at the most recent VantagePoint predictive forecast. And so if you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and click on the link in the description below. And you can sign up, get a live demo, and really learn the specifics about how these tools and technologies can help you make those better trading decisions out there in the marketplace. So what we typically do here, right, is take a look at the S&P 500. And so now this week, we're up almost 16% year to date. Obviously, really nice move there. Last 5 days, about 0.5%. And we've had a really nice start to the month. But I think we want to just be a little careful. A lot of those stocks that have done really well, we're starting to see volatility pick up. This is where trade management is very important and really identifying solid trading opportunities with the help of the software here. So what I want to do is just really highlight how this all works. And Cardinal Health here is actually a really nice example of how really all of these predictive indicators work together, right? So if we look right against the price action, what we have here is daily price action, right? So each one of the candles that you're seeing there, that's going to represent a full and completed trading day. And what you'll first notice is right up against all of that price data is there's a black line and also a blue line value. And you see those values changing day to day. Now, what that black line value is that is actually a simple moving average. So this is a very common technical analysis indicator. In this case, it's a 10 period. So it'll look back at the last 10 closes, add them all together, and then divide by 10. And so I tend to look at this as this is really our baseline, right? Really lets us know where market prices have been over a given period of time. But obviously a trader needs to be ahead of that next move in the marketplace. And so what we're able to do here is compare this, what we would call a lagging moving average, to this proprietary predicted moving average. And for this number, which is essentially a prediction of future prices, for that to get calculated and plotted on the chart every evening, well, this is where the technology comes into play and is performing what we would call intermarket analysis. Now, if you actually go look at something like the healthcare ETFs, we had a huge spike back here towards the end of May and beginning of June. That has an effect on things like Cardinal Health, Humana, a lot of these healthcare provider stocks. But the software is able to analyze that. It's going to look at other individual stocks like those big healthcare providers, potentially stocks that have inverse correlations that seemingly have nothing to do with Cardinal Health or healthcare, but have proven there's a very tight relationship there that can offer insight into an accurate future prediction. And so it'll even go down the line, looking at things like the value of the dollar index, global interest rates. We had a move in gold a few months ago, and all those gold mining stocks with the gold market, right? All of these things share important price clues, and that's what the software is really doing, is analyzing that information and using that to generate highly accurate price predictions. And it's those predictions of future price that are actually used to construct these proprietary predictive tools. So whenever we see this blue line cross above the black line, well, we'd expect average prices to start going higher, and a trader may want to go ahead and take a long position in the marketplace. And so this is not a big move here, Cardinal Health, right? It's a big ship, moves pretty slowly here, but you had a 6% rally, and it's a really good example of how all of these predictive tools work together. So if we come down to the very bottom of the chart, you'll notice this bar that goes from green to red and back to green. And this is also an indicator that's utilizing that intermarket analysis data, right? And using those neural networks to forecast future prices, but they're solving a different problem, right? It's not looking at the overall trend direction. What it's looking at is a very short-term 48 hours of strength or weakness in the market. And so whenever that most recent forecast comes through, it's essentially a prediction for the next 48 hours. And so this is how traders can identify that momentum coming into the market, also potentially knowing when to buy on a dip scenario. So you'll notice that the overall trend is up here. We get one day where that neural index is bearish, and you notice that the market kind of runs sideways for really the next few days. But as that neural index gets bullish, this momentum comes back in and the overall trend takes off. And so, if you had those two tools, that would be, exceptionally helpful to let to help you really navigate the markets and get involved in some of these opportunities. But it even goes a little further than that, where intraday, every single day, you're provided a predicted high and a predicted low. And so these levels really offer nice guidance as far as where to add to positions, where to take some profit, and of course get updated every single day. And so we have this habit each week of taking a look at the overall trend, but then looking at those accurate daily predictions and saying, okay, well, how accurate were all these trading days, right? So we'll have a candle that's going to be completed here. It will fill in, but of course the predictions here are not going to change. And so as we look back, you have this help that says, look, there's a trend here. Look to buy down at these predicted lows, right? That's going to be the ideal intraday levels to accept a position. And this is a really great example of this, where you see that even as the market kind of runs sideways, doesn't do a whole lot, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 entries at the lower part of that range before we're accelerating higher and we see this trend really start to pick up. So again, it's just a really good example here of, regardless of what type of trading you're doing, maybe you're a trend trader and you want to identify those important shifts, which what you're going to notice is a lot of these shifts come in at the end and beginning of a new month here. Here in Cardinal, you see right at the beginning of June, offering up a really nice opportunity. Another opportunity here is Home Depot. So again, same thing, right at the end of June, we start seeing this blue line cross above the black line. And what traders can actually do here is use features like VantagePoint and Telescan, which will actually create really a grid here that allows you to search via these predictive indicators. So whenever you're looking for a new opportunity and really having a daily process that helps you identify, hey, where are those fresh shifts in the market? Well, that's going to pick up some clues and say, okay, well, Home Depot, this is certainly a stock we want to analyze. Again, we've got that crossover coming right at the end of May, saying, okay, well, Home Depot looks like a good opportunity here. And again, great example here where look how many days you're just running completely sideways, right? So you get that neural index bearish, you get some weakness over these subsequent trading days, but that blue line still remains above the black line. And this is where those intermarket relationships help skew that level to make sure it remains bullish and stays in that uptrend configuration. And so we see here that we've gotten a little nice pop here in shares of Home Depot. But again, just want to highlight some of these opportunities outside of, the big Nvidias and him and hers we looked at, some of these really colossal moves that we're seeing in the markets driving up the S&P. But there's a lot of things that are starting to perk up and open up some new opportunities, especially if you're looking for things that you might want to stick in the portfolio, trail your stops, and may turn into some sound, pretty longer term investments here. So here about a 6% rally just over the past 14 trading days, and obviously really nice entries into this market that is certainly at this time trending higher. Here's Palantir, so another one of these opportunities that stands a little outside. Some of these things are driving the S&P, but right there, that crossover coming right towards the end of the year. And of course, let's go ahead and just take a look at those predicted highs and predicted lows. And so regardless of the trading style, right, if you're a trader that's going to be looking for more of these rare crossovers and opportunities to come through, well, you're going to have a wide selection of markets where you're going to see the strength of those forecasts and can really lean into that. Or maybe you take this day by day and you're simply looking for levels to accumulate a position, take some profits within really a day or two is where VantagePoint's pretty helpful because we have this really accurate neural index. So when you tie in the overall trend, neural index, and then get in at a good price level, well, you've got that odds on your side that we're going to move up and hit a shorter term price target here. So again, you see these really nice entries at the early start of the trade. Here, neural index goes bullish. You get that gap down, but the overall trend is up here, and you'd want to be accumulating a position. You even see here yesterday, look how it fills that range almost perfectly, right? Predicted high, predicted low, filling the range and closing really in the middle there. Here's SHAK. So again, want to highlight some of the more bearish opportunities in the market because you get the S&P really being driven higher by a small number of stocks people are really excited around AI. But there's a lot of broader market stocks that just aren't performing all that well here. Here's shares of SHAK, and this is a really good example here. You see, you actually get this blue line crossing below the black line, and notice the neural index is actually bullish right here, right? And you see you get these higher highs over these subsequent trading days, and that strength sort of, staying in the market for a few days. But notice how the blue line actually gets further and further away from the black line, indicating, look, the overall trend is bearish here. And so within these uptrends or actually downtrends, right, you'll get these spikes oftentimes, a lot of volatility as the market's going lower, tries to, kick out a lot of those stops and the market trends lower still. But this is the key here, as you see, you're not getting anywhere close to having a crossover, right? Getting into that uptrend configuration. And so even with these huge spikes, you see the market still deteriorates, not even close to getting a crossover. And this has been a pretty substantial move to the bearish side here. Here's your predicted highs and lows. And again, you see as this market gets started, these excellent entries at the beginning start of a move, potential to add before, again, you get a lot of noise around these big up candles. But the overall trend here is bearish, and there are a lot of stocks that you just want to stay away from, right? Aren't really set up well. You don't want to be chasing things where you're not seeing those really solid forecasts like we're seeing with some of these shifts at the beginning of June that we had here. Lastly here, one of the lithium stocks here. So this may really drive down the cost of electric cars and a lot of this, but also you can see that kind of playing into a lot of the weakness in certain stocks in certain areas of the marketplace. And here you see this blue line crossing below the black line here in Albemarle. You get a little bit of sideways price action with this neural index, but this is not an area where you want to be bullish in the market, right? I mean, these bullishness is very short-lived, and you see how this blue line remains pretty distant from that black line, even really starts to accelerate here. And we see that really bearish momentum really start to kick into the marketplace. So, last week we, again, had a couple opportunities where we see that weakness coming in, and you are seeing volatility kick up in the S&P. So this is where you want to be really careful, have good solid positioning in the portfolio, have those nice entries. Things like Home Depot are really nice opportunities here where you've got a nice cushion, there's plenty of distance here, and you can deal with a lot of volatility moving forward, which we may see just again on that index side. And as you see some of those bigger stocks really starting to rattle around here. So we'll go ahead and leave it there. But once again, this has been our Hot Stocks Outlook for June 21st, 2024. Thank you all for watching. Best of luck and bye for now.